Hello and welcome to the Instago Chef. Al and Regina back again on this cold and crisp mid-November day here in autumn. Today we're going to do a take, I guess it's a take on the German classic pork and apples, and we'll be using the Ninja Foodi to cook it. If you don't have a Foodi, it's not a big problem. It's really basically two steps. One is to basically brown up the pork, and the second one is to pressure cook it with the sauerkraut and the other ingredients. So you certainly can do it with a pot on the stove for the browning and the pressure cooking for the main cooking. So with that said, we've got here a pork tenderloin, one of my favorite cuts of meat. You can certainly use other kinds of pork cuts. This is what I did. This is about between 1¼ pounds, 1½ pounds, probably good size for that. I've simply cut it in half. You don't have to do that. But we're going to be sauteing it in the Foodi to brown it up, and then we'll be taking it from there. I've already prepped this with salt and pepper. Now, in my case, there is no pepper being used. However, the recipe will show you all the ingredients. As you know, due to certain dietary restrictions, we leave out certain ingredients. In this case, we'll be leaving out the pepper, the Worcestershire sauce, and what else we leave out there?
Garlic?
Oh, there is no garlic in here. And the onion. So, okay. Nonetheless, the actual full recipe is on the site. So, follow the recipe, and if you see me leaving things out, it's not a mistake. Okay, we're going to move over to the Foodi. That's where we're heading now. And what I've got going on here, and the Foodi's been heating up while we were talking. What I've got is about a tablespoon of olive oil in there, and I'm heating it up to fairly high. Okay, in this case, I'm going to move it to about a setting of 4 on there, and with that, I'm going to take the pork tenderloins and dump them in there to get that satisfying sizzle effect. Okay, and I'm just going to move this around a little bit. Get a nice oil coloring on it. And we're going to just basically brown all the sides. Obviously you're not cooking it, but you are browning it. So the oil should be fairly hot. So I'll be doing this for 4 sides. And as we get near to the end of this, which won't take long, we'll come right back.
Okay.
Okay, so we're almost finishing sauteing this, browning them up. Next step I did while you were not watching is I took about a quarter to ½ pound of apples, and I cored them and peeled them, and I cut them up. Now they don't have to be cut up small. With the high pressure cooking time, these apples will disintegrate into the broth that we'll be cooking. So anything is fine. I just happen to cut it up in that fashion. So normally at this point, we would be also sauteing the onions, which I told you we are leaving out. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to deglaze the pot a little bit here with, come over here, with a little chicken broth. And as you can see now, if you look inside of there, you'll see that the meat is browning up very nicely. And again, this is just to get a little more flavor in there. Okay. You can, there you go. All right, now with that, you'll see you get a nice browning at the bottom of the pot. So with that, I'm going to throw in a little chicken broth there, just to help you glaze the pot. Okay, I'm going to lower this down just a bit. And we're going to now get ready to add the apples. Coming over there now with those. Throw those apples in. like so. And we can give them just a little bit of a stir. Okay, like that. And now I'm going to be adding the sauerkraut. Now, the sauerkraut, as you know, usually has a good deal of liquid in it. If what I suggest you do is you kind of squeeze out the liquid into a measuring cup, and if it's more than a half a cup of liquid, just reduce it down to a half a cup. You don't want to really use too much of the liquid in there. Half a cup or a little less is fine. So, in my case, I got less than a half a cup of liquid, so that's going in. And then with that, the sauerkraut is going in. And there she goes. And again, all the ingredients are on the site. Okay, that's going to leave us basically with 2 additional ingredients. Let me give this a little stir here. Okay. All right. There we go. And the remaining ingredients based on the recipe is a little brown sugar, which really is a distinct sweetness to match the sauerkraut. Not much. A little less than a tablespoon is all we're going to be using. So I'm going to take a little bit less than that. Now that's good enough. That's going in there. And then on top of that, we're going to be adding, again, about, a half a tablespoon or less of the malt vinegar. If you don't have malt vinegar, apple cider vinegar will do just fine. So a little less than a tablespoon. And that, of course, what gives it that nice distinctive flavor of the sweet and the sauerkraut. So let's give that a little bit of stir. And with that said, we'll be right back. Okay, so getting ready now for the pressure cooker step. I'm just finishing, just kind of moving things around a little bit. Now on this new version of the Foodi, this is the OL710, it doesn't have a separate pressure lid anymore, it's all on one. So I'm going to be switching over to pressure. I'm going to lower this. I'm going to slide this now over to pressure. The valve that you used to have to set yourself now does it automatically, so it's set for seal. So now I'm going to go over to pressure. And, let me do this first. Okay. And I'm going to be doing a 20-minute pressure cook with a 30-minute natural release. Now, if you recall, the way that was done is you set the pressure cooker, and then when the time was up, you monitored the 30-minute natural release, and then you released any additional pressure, and then opened it up. With this new model now, you don't have to do that any longer. You can set the... I didn't want to do that. I want to do this. Okay. You can set the time for natural release, quick release, or delayed release. So in this case, it'll be a delayed release of 30 minutes. So let's see where we are here. If I can figure out. Okay. There's the delayed release. It's going to ask me for how long. I'm going to say 30 minutes. All right, I'm getting there. 28, 29, and 30. 30 minutes on that. And I'm setting the actual time now for 20 minutes. I'm just checking my own recipes. As you see now, we're on high, pressure cook for 20 minutes. And that should be it. So just a quick recap. With this machine, you go switch over to the pressure lid, because the slide now controls that instead of a separate lid. And I set the pressure on high for a 20-minute cook time with a 30-minute delayed release. So we're ready to start, and I'll do that right now. And it'll start the process of preheating and heading to steam. And essentially, we'll be back in about 30 minutes. Okay, we have pressure cooked now for 20 minutes with a delayed natural release of 30 minutes. It's just completed, so we're now able to open up the pressure cooker and see how we did. Okay. I'm going to push this around. If you look down, you'll see I'll be able to mash this up very easily. The meat is very tender. I don't know if you can, if I'm on your way there.
I can get some in there. Yep, that's
Yeah,
better.
I'm just mashing up a little bit because now I'm just using the tip here. You could use anything that doesn't scratch the pot. And you know, you can leave it in chunks and serve it that way and easily cuttable on the plate. Or you can do what I'm doing here, kind of thin it down a little bit. And you'll be ready to go. Smells good.
Yep.
Okay. So, with that said, the only thing left to do now at this point will be to plate it.
Plate's right there.
Okay. I'll take a little bit out. And tell me how much you'd like. Are you hungry?
A little bit more.
You want juice?
Just a little.
Just a little juice. My wife eats kind of like a bird, so.
Okay.
Okay. And I can assure you this will be very tender. As you can see, I'm cutting it with the dull end of a spoon. And there is your pork and sauerkraut. So, with that said, from the Insecure Chef and his lovely wife, Regina,
Have a good night.
have a good day and a good night and a happy holiday season that's be upon us shortly. Take care.